My name's Matt Hill. I'm originally from the northeast of England, Stockton-on-Tees. My wife is from Northern Ireland, Judith, and since 1991 we've been living and serving the church in Spain. We have two boys who were born in Spain. Thomas is a teacher, married to Spanish woman Liz, and Jacob is a sound technician. We worship in a local church in Ciudad Real. Our ministry mainly is, I head up a ministry called Editorial Peregrino, Pilgrim Publications, which is a Spanish publishing company. Spain would be known as a Catholic country, going back to recently in the 20th century, Franco and national Catholicism. But really in recent years we could really say that the Spain of today is post-Catholic, in that many people, whilst they have at various times through the year they bring out their religion. It's a kind of a folk religion at Christmas or at Easter or First Communion, and by and large most people are practicing or practical atheists and live without any reference to God or to church or to religion. Spain is a secular society, it's a materialistic society, it's at the forefront of new laws, passing new laws concerning abortion or same-sex marriage, etc. So really the culture in Spain is very similar to, I guess, what we find here in the UK. How do people relate to evangelicals? Well, in the past, evangelicals were just weird beasts. We ate our children for breakfast, and we had horns and a devil's tail. That's all disappeared. We're still oddities, but oddities not because we're evangelicals so much, but more just because we're religious. And most people today, the younger generations, think of religion as an outdated throwback to the past, something that their grandparents did, but really society has grown out of that. So we're just oddities, really. Editorial Peregrino, Pilgrim Publications, began life in 1979. It was founded really through the efforts of workers with European Mission Fellowship, who had been in the UK, seen the tremendous range of books and the offer of Christian books that there were available, and wanted something of that in Spain. So with the help of Evangelical Press here in the UK, EP was founded in Spain in 1985. We became amicably independent, began to govern ourselves from within Spain. And so that was 40 years ago. In the last 40 years, God has enabled us to produce and edit 300 of our own titles, most of which are still in print. And then at the same time, we also distribute good books from other publishers. There are basically three Spanish-speaking publishers of good books, reformed books, across the Spanish-speaking world. We are one of them. So we bring in books from South America, Central America into Spain, and distribute them with our own books to booksellers, bookstores. There are 8 bookstores in Spain, Christian bookstores, through to churches, individuals, pastors. And, to be honest, we are encouraged to see that just recently especially there's a real growth in a desire for good books, people wanting to read good books, prepared to spend money on good books. That's comes through especially in another area that we're involved in, which would be sponsoring the Passion for the Gospel Conference. It's a national conference. We have about 300 people attending from across Spain, and they come to hear good preaching, they come to sing well, but they come also to buy books. So we actually have half a gymnasium full of good books that people can buy, and that's very encouraging for us to see the thirst and the desire that people have for the books. And then we've just become recently involved in a ministry work into Cuba, providing books for pastors and theological students. Very needy situation over there. So God has helped us through churches in the UK, churches in Spain, to be able to help pastors and theological students in Cuba with good books as well. We very much appreciate the fact that EMF supporters enable us to do that work, whilst we have 4 other workers apart from myself, and they are supported through the sales of books, but my income comes through EMF from supporters in the UK, and we are very grateful for that. We couldn't continue without that support and help. whilst it's true at a human level that the work that we're involved in requires finance, and we've mentioned that already, it's obviously true to say that we couldn't continue the work without people such as yourselves praying for us and praying for the work that we're involved in and have been over many years in Spain. We very much value prayer for in the ministry at EP. We depend on sales. So that's just one of the facts of life of running a business, and we would love to see more sales both within Spain and in South America, into the Spanish-speaking countries in South America. More sales means that we have more income and we can take on bigger projects, more projects, we can produce more books through the year, we could take on more staff, and we could just do more. So we'd ask you to pray that our sales would increase and continue to increase. As the leader heading up Editorial Peregrino, I find very much that I feel extremely out of my depth. I pastored for many years in Spain, for 16 years. So I'm not naturally a book editor. I hadn't worked in the industry until 7 years ago. I loved books as a pastor, but I'd never produced books. So I find very much that I feel often out of my depth, and very much I'm always asking people to pray for me that I would have wisdom leading the company, wisdom heading up the work, wisdom in the choice of books that we produce, not just books that will sell, but books that will do the church good and help pastors in their ministry. Wisdom to lead EP, because the 4 people that work with us, they depend on the wages, so there's families involved and livelihoods involved. So just wisdom that God will be glorified in all the work that we seek to do in EP.